welcome back to The Explainer. Today we're doing something a little different. We're demystifying the Rwandan Highway Code. Let's be honest, wading through dense legal text is nobody's idea of a good time. So instead of doing that, we're going to break down these driving regulations using a highly visual, step-by-step framework. Let's translate raw law into actual road reality. Think of this as your ultimate on-the-go field guide to compliance and spatial rules. We're taking the raw, sometimes confusing text of the law and translating it into clear, actionable protocols. The goal is for you to instinctively know what to do the second you get behind the wheel. Now, to make this massive manual actually digestible, we've organized the whole highway code into 3 key educational spheres. It's like a giant puzzle, and these are the main pieces: vehicle equipment and visibility, road infrastructure and signals, and finally, shared spaces. So here is our game plan for today. First up, vehicle equipment and visibility. Then, road infrastructure and signals. And we'll wrap up with navigating shared spaces. Let's jump right in. Starting things off with sphere number 1, vehicle equipment and visibility. Okay, let's talk about the literal bright spots, your vehicle's illumination. The baseline here is super strict. Your rear position lights absolutely must be fixed nearest to the left edge of your vehicle. Why the left? Well, because aligning with Rwanda's right-hand traffic rules maximizes your visibility to anyone approaching from behind. Moving to the front, your standard low beams have to hit a full 100 meters ahead in fine weather. Oh, and if you're hauling cargo wider than 2.10 meters, loading lights aren't just a good idea, they are a strict legal requirement. But hang on, there's a really important exception to that 100-meter rule. While your standard cars and big trucks need that full 100 meters of low beam visibility, motorcycles and vehicles under 125 cc actually get a bit of a break. They only require 75 meters. It's a small distinction, sure, but a totally crucial one if you regularly switch between driving 4 wheels and riding 2. Now, what if you're towing something with a bike? Say you couple a little trailer to your motorcycle or moped, and it ends up blocking your primary lights. You can't just drive like that. Your overall footprint has to remain perfectly visible. You are legally required to have 2 red lamps in the rear and 2 white or selective yellow lamps in the front. All right, shifting gears from sight to sound. Believe it or not, the speed capabilities of your vehicle directly dictate your horn's auditory warning radius. For a standard car, that horn needs to be audible from 100 meters away. But if you're in a low-speed vehicle, like a tractor, maxing out under 50 kilometers per hour, that required distance drops dramatically to just 50 meters. Before we move deeper into the mechanics and actually head out onto the road, I've got a quick, kind of scary safety question for you to ponder. Under Rwandan regulations, when is it legally permissible to uncouple your braked surface from the wheels? Just think about that for a second. It sounds incredibly dangerous, doesn't it? Well, the answer is a massive, resounding no, unless you meet one of 3 very specific loopholes. Uncoupling is strictly prohibited unless, 1, it's just a temporary thing, like a manual gear change. 2, it requires direct, intentional action by you on the parking brake. Or 3, your emergency brakes remain fully efficient even after the uncoupling. It's all about preserving absolute stopping power at all times. All right, having mastered the vehicle itself, let's zoom out a bit and tackle sphere 2, road infrastructure and signals. This is what we call the master distance spectrum. It's basically a mental map of the spatial awareness you need on Rwandan roads, and it scales horizontally from 50 meters all the way up to 200 meters. Here we can map out that 50-meter low-speed horn, the 75-meter motorcycle beam, and the 100-meter standard low beam we just talked about. Just to really cement this in your mind, check out these spatial benchmarks. Sitting way out there on the far right of our spectrum are the 150 to 200-meter danger signs. Let's actually zoom in on that for a second, because it completely dictates how you need to anticipate hazards. Imagine you're cruising outside the city limits. Standard warning signs, like danger or priority signs, are placed exactly 150 to 200 meters before the hazardous area even begins. But there's a geometric exception. If a winding road layout literally makes a 150-meter placement impossible, the sign can be placed closer. However, and this is key, this shorter distance absolutely must be explicitly indicated by an additional panel underneath, known as an F1 signal. It ensures you are never, ever caught off guard. Now picture pulling up to an equal crossroad and you see a flashing yellow light. This authorizes you to pass, but very cautiously. Here is the massive caveat, though. A flashing yellow light does not alter standard priority rules. You still have to yield as you normally would. It basically screams, proceed with high caution, not you magically have the right of way. Okay, let's decode one specific, super important sign, the end of local restrictions. Understanding exactly what this visual cue means tells you how to instantly adjust your driving behavior on the fly. When you spot this, the plain white circle with a bold black diagonal stripe, it means you are officially, legally reverting back to standard highway code rules. Any temporary limit you were dealing with, like a construction zone speed limit or a temporary no overtaking zone, is completely over. You have to immediately adjust your speed back to general road rules. So, what exactly are those baselines? Well, you're looking at a strict 40 kilometers per hour in urban areas and 60 to 80 kilometers per hour out on the national highways. And be warned, Rwanda strictly enforces these baselines using both active police presence and state-of-the-art automated camera systems. Knowing these numbers isn't just about safety, it is quite literally a matter of strict legal compliance.
And that brings us to our final stop today, Sphere 3, navigating shared spaces.
This is where things get absolutely critical for human safety. The golden rule here is the 1 meter rule. Under optimal conditions, drivers must maintain at least a full 1 meter clearance when passing pedestrians. But watch what happens in a scenario where the shoulder is obstructed, say by debris or a stalled car, forcing that vulnerable pedestrian out into the roadway and making that full meter impossible. If that happens, the proximity protocol triggers immediately. If you cannot give a pedestrian a full 1 meter clearance, you must drastically drop your speed to a maximum of just 5 kilometers per hour. Think about how incredibly slow that is. It is literally a walking pace. You are matching the momentum of the pedestrian. This rule is strictly designed to protect vulnerable human lives in unpredictable shared spaces. No exceptions. We also have to share the road safely with public transit, right? You've got to look out for these highly specific reserved zones. The visual system relies on a yellow surface with 3 main things to spot: dashed yellow lines, painted boundary boxes outlining the zone, and the words "only bus" painted directly onto the asphalt. Keeping clear of these marks ensures the whole transit system flows efficiently and safely for everyone. To wrap all of this up, we've put together this ultimate driver's quick reference checklist. We covered keeping your rear position lights on the left edge, your 100-meter low beam standard, and keeping an eye out for danger signs at 150 to 200 meters. We also recapped the critical 5 kilometers per hour pedestrian safety rule and your standard speed baselines. This is basically the mental summary you need to stay compliant. So as we wrap up today's explainer, I want to leave you with a real provocative question. We've looked at the hard numbers, the exact visual cues, and the specific spatial rules governing Rwandan roads. But ask yourself, when you get behind the wheel tomorrow, will your daily driving habits actually meet these precise legal standards? Are you truly giving that full meter to pedestrians or slowing down to a crawling 5 kilometers per hour when you can't? It is one thing to understand the code on paper, but it's entirely another to drive it in reality. Keep these rules in mind, stay compliant, and most importantly, stay safe out there.